If you would, turn your Bibles to Matthew chapter 26. Matthew chapter 26. If you have trouble, maybe I can hold this one. You could probably see it from there. My favorite because I can see it well. Normally I use the tablet, but Matthew chapter 26. We're going to start out with two verses here this morning, and the first two verses here of Matthew chapter 26. And it came to pass when Jesus had finished all these sayings, he said unto his disciples, Ye know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. We're going to be looking at the first verse there. It says, and it came to pass when Jesus had finished these sayings. We're going to look at what he was saying. We want to see what he was talking about before he went to the cross. And that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. You know, what's the number one commercial you see on TV right now? Well, yeah. How about weight loss programs? Yeah. Now, what's the number one resolution probably made throughout America? We're all going to lose weight, right? Yeah. Charlie, you don't need to lose any weight. But one of the things that we always worry about is how we look. So we always make a resolution. We're going to be speaking a little bit about resolution. Not much, but a little bit about a resolution here this morning. So now let's go back to chapter 24, verse 3. Jesus said, all these things, he finished them. Jesus had finished all these sayings. What was he talking about and who was he talking to? Look in verse 3 of chapter 24. And as he sat down on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? His disciples wanted to know what was going to happen at the end. When are you coming back? What's going to be the plan? They wanted to know what was going on. And their perspective was a lot different than our perspective because we're looking from here back that direction. They were looking from there forward. But they had a worry. What's going to happen? When's the end going to come? What's going to be the signs? Well, Jesus gave them some parables in the next two chapters, 24 and 25. And I want to look at these parables, 5 of these parables that he gave his disciples before he was to go to the cross, and apply them to our lives today. Parable number 1 is in verse 32 of chapter 24. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branches is yet tender, and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when you see all these things, know it is near, even at the doors. When the tree starts to bud, and the leaves start to come on, we know summer's going to happen, don't we? Just like the fig tree, Jesus was telling his disciples, when you see the signs that he just laid out, and I would encourage you to read chapter 24 all the way through and see some of the signs. You're going to see the very signs we see today, every day. Earthquakes, wars and rumors of wars. I won't go on, but you can read those in the first chapter there in the first verses of chapter 24. So he said in verse 32, learn a parable of the fig tree. When you see the leaves and the branches come on, you know summer's nigh. When you see these signs, you know it's going to be closer to the end of time, the end of the world, Jesus' return. You're going to know these by the signs. Do we know these by the signs? Yes, we do. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all these things be fulfilled, in verse 34. So this is the first parable that Jesus gave his disciples before he was to go to the cross, about the signs of the times and when the world would end. Be watchful. Know that the signs of the time. That was the first one. Now let's look at verse 42. Now it says, "Watch therefore, for you know not what hour your Lord doth come." Now an illustration of that has just happened to us this week, or just today. Be prepared, watch, because the water could come up, couldn't it? Yeah. Our neighbor over here right behind us, I talked to him this morning. He said, "I told her to get that stuff off the basement floor. It didn't happen, so now all their laundry's floating in the basement at about this deep." We got to be watching, prepared. And this is what he was sharing with his disciples in this parable. Now let's read the parable, verse 43. "But know this, if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour ye think not the Son of Man cometh." Now, if I knew someone was going to be breaking into my home, I'd be doing the old granny thing with my double-barreled shotgun sitting in a rocking chair, wouldn't you? You'd be ready, wouldn't you? You'd be ready. Jesus is coming back. We need to be ready. And it says in verse 44, "Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour you think not the Son of Man cometh." So all these New Year resolutions we have, or make and break, let's make a resolution to be ready. I don't know if this is good English. Let's be more ready than we were last year. Let's be more ready. Now I'm going to use this application. This is my personal application. This is not biblical, but I'm going to use this application. This good man, he would have been ready if he knew the thief was coming at his home. Let's be ready at home for God's return. What we do at home, let's be ready. If it's what we watch on TV, if it's what we say and what we do, what we're doing at home, let's be ready for God's return at home, in our home. This is my first application with the good man of the house. Let's be ready in our homes. Okay, let's go on to the next parable that he gave, and that's in chapter 25, verse 1. This is the parable of the 10 virgins. "Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 of them were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. When the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go you out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go you rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom cometh. And they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterwards came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open unto us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Verse 13. Watch, therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour when the Son of Man cometh. The first parable was of the fig tree, and we know that summer's coming when we see the figs or the leaves come out. We know when the end of time's coming because we can see the signs. We don't know the day or the hour, but we know it's soon. So he said, be ready. So let's be ready at home. And as these 10 virgins were, 5 of them were prepared when they were out in the world at a celebration, and 5 were unprepared. Let's be prepared this new year when we're out in the world doing those things at work, maybe shopping, friends. Let's be prepared for God's return when we're out in the world doing our things. Being careful what we say, being careful what we do, being careful what we are presenting ourselves as. Let's be careful. Let's watch. Because, verse 13, ye know neither the day or the hour when the Son of Man cometh. So starting off this new year, let's make a resolution to be better prepared at home and out in the world wherever we go. Let's be better prepared. Now, Jesus gives them another parable. And this one starts in verse 14. Here's the parable of the talents. Verse 14 of chapter 25. And the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And to one he gave 5 talents, another 2, and to one, and to the other 1. To every man according to his several abilities, and straightway took his journey. Then he that received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them 5 talents. And likewise he that received the 2, he also gained other 2. But he that received the 1 went and digged in the earth, and hid his Lord's money. After a long time the Lord of those servants cometh, and reckoned with them. And so he that received the 5 talents came and brought forth 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more. And the Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of the Lord. He also that received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them. And the Lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. I was afraid, and went and hid the talents in the earth. Lo, there thou hast thine, that is thine. And the Lord said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. That artist therefore put my money to the exchangers, and then at my coming I would have received my own with usury. Take thou for the talent from him, and give it to him which hath 10 talents. This parable, the number 4th parable we're going to look at, is the parable of the talents. Now the first thing we looked at was the fig tree. We know the end is coming soon, don't we? There's no doubt. The next one is the parable of the good man. At home, we need to be prepared for Christ's return. And then the parable of the 10 virgins. We need to be prepared when we're out in the world, just like Jesus is going to return tomorrow. We need to be prepared. Now, the 4th thing changes gears a little bit. And I believe this is geared towards Christian people in God's world. We need to be productive. We need to be productive. Not only prepared, but we need to be productive. So we know that time is coming close. We need to be prepared at home. We need to be prepared in the world. And we need to be productive in the world that we live. You might say, well, how can I be productive in my Christian walk? Well, it might be easier for me to explain non-productive. You get that image pretty quick, can't you? Of a Christian who does nothing for the Lord. That would be unproductive. Now, production like this does not make salvation. I want to make that clear. Production does not make you saved. It's through God's grace of sending His Son, Jesus Christ, on the cross, the whole subject matter we're talking about here, that gets you saved. Production comes after we're saved. Why wouldn't we want to do something with the talent that Jesus gave us? Why wouldn't we want to do something with it? Why would we want to bury it in the ground and dig down deep and bury it and leave it there? We need to be productive. So, first thing is, we know the signs of the time by the parable of the fig tree. They're close. Let's be prepared in our home life. Let's be prepared in our life out in the world. And let's be productive in our Christian walk. Why? Here's the fifth parable. Why should we do that? Look at I've lost my place. Verse 31 of chapter 25. When the Son of Man shall come in His glory, and all the holy angels with Him, then shall He sit on the throne of His glory, and before Him shall He gather all the nations, and He shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats, and He will set the sheep on His right hand, and the goats on His left. There's a judgment day coming. That's why we need to be prepared. We need to be prepared at home. We need to be prepared in the world, and we also need to be productive, because there's a judgment day coming. We can see the signs, can't we? This was what, and you can read all these words that Jesus left His disciples. You can see there, if you got the red letter edition, it's from chapter 24, verse 4, clear over to chapter 26, verse 1 is in red. He was talking to His disciples. I would like to leave you with this application. How can I be ready? And how can I be better prepared? One way is, and Phil mentioned this in Sunday school, I need to spend more time in God's Word. That'd be a better way to be prepared at home, wouldn't it? We need to spend more time on our knees praying. That'd be another way of being prepared, isn't it? In our home. How about out in the world? How we represent Jesus Christ is a way of being prepared out in the world. How do we represent Jesus Christ when we're out in the world? Let's be better prepared. How can we be more productive? One way to be more productive is share. Share with our friends and families and co-workers about Jesus Christ. We can be more productive this way. Let's make a New Year resolution to be better prepared and more productive in the world we live in and also at home. Let's make that our New Year's resolution, to be better prepared and more productive. Why? Because Jesus is coming back. That's why. Why do we need to be better prepared and more productive? Because Jesus is coming back. It could be tomorrow. It says, watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. That's why we need to be better prepared and more productive in our Christian walk. Why? He's coming back, that's why. Now, if you want to make a New Year's resolution on weight loss, join me. It probably won't work. Not when there's still those sweets left over in the refrigerator. It just doesn't work. But we do need to be better prepared, and we can make that a challenge in our lives and move forward, can't we? We sure can. We can be better prepared and more productive Christians for the Lord. He is coming back, and that's why we're doing this, is because He is coming back. Be better prepared at home, at work, in the world, and be more productive. Why? He's coming back. He's coming back. Have you got the pastor's always, he says, the only reason why you always cut them short, that's why they like this when I'm gone. Be more productive and be better prepared in the year 2016.